Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
The shock sensor is part of the security alarm system used on cars. With its help, the car owner can find out that the vehicle has been hit. The purposes of people who hit cars are different. Sometimes it is accidental. Some cases involve attempts to break into the car, theft, and theft of the interior contents. In addition to the protection of cars, these sensors are widely used in the home for the protection of enterprises, institutions, office buildings, and so on. Before installing and configuring sensors, you should know what they are used for and where they are mounted on cars. What they are used for. Structurally, the shock sensor is a small compact device. In most cases, the sensor is almost invisible. It is installed on the areas of the car that are most likely to be subjected to shocks. When there is a bump or sudden movement, the sensor is triggered, activates the alarm system, sends a warning signal to the car owner. Through the remote control or directly to a smartphone. The sensor will react to any movement that causes the surface where the device is fixed to vibrate. The reaction occurs in a few moments, and the driver receives the relevant information. The main task of the sensor is to prevent offenses, among which it is worth highlighting the theft of the car, theft, damage to property, unauthorized entry into the vehicle, etc. How it works. The first thing to understand is how the shock sensors work on the alarm system installed on vehicles. There are two main modes of triggering such a sensor. This largely allows you to understand how such a device works. Warning. This is the first mode, which is activated by minor impacts on the machine within the sensor radius. The alarm system generates several short beeps. Some security systems additionally signal with headlights. This mode allows you to inform the intruder that the car is protected and monitored. The advantage of the mode is that it does not provoke loud sounds. After all, the sensor can be triggered when something falls accidentally on the roof, a cat jumps on the car, or children accidentally hit the car with a ball. In parallel, a potential intruder realizes that it will not be possible to open the car silently. Alarm. This is the second mode, which is activated only if a strong blow is applied. As a result, when triggered, the alarm system turns on loudly. Inside the sensor is a special chip that allows you to customize the sensitivity of triggering and determines at what impact the warning or alarm mode will be activated. Read also, what will happen to the engine when driving at low and high speeds to the question of why the shock sensor sometimes spontaneously triggers itself. Most likely, the sensitivity of the sensor is very high, and therefore at the slightest vibrations it perceives them as a strong shock. It is in such cases that adjustment is required. Although initially it is better to adjust the setting when you first start the alarm system. Many alarm systems are equipped with a remote control, and some are connected to smartphones. In this case, the car will not just turn on the siren and flashing headlights, but also transmit a message about the triggering of the sensor to the remote control or phone of the car owner. Places for installation. Now it is necessary to know where to look for this very shock sensor in the car on the alarm and how to find the sensors of the alarm system. In general, the car has several main points on which these devices are usually installed. The first thing to do is to look in the instructions of the manufacturer of the security system. If the sensors are included in the kit, it usually prescribes a list of points and zones where it is best to put the shock sensor from a particular alarm system. Most often the installation is performed in the standard places where the impact is likely to be made. If it turns out that the motorist incorrectly placed the sensor, it may be triggered without objective reasons or not activated at times when it is really necessary. Even the fact that an intruder may be aware of where sensors are typically placed will not help them avoid being triggered if they need to break a window or attempt to break down a door to gain access to the vehicle. When the sensor is in the correct locations and positioned according to the manufacturer's recommendations, the protection of the vehicle is noticeably improved. Where there is no provision for an impact sensor, some people put in an auxiliary sensor anyway. To what extent it will be useful, or on the contrary, create additional difficulties, depends on the specific situation. There are several basic recommendations regarding the placement of sensors, it is better to mount the sensors on the metal part of the body from the inside of the car. It is desirable that the sensor should stand symmetrically relative to the axis of the car. It is not allowed to mount the device on the bottom of the car. It is not recommended to mount sensors on plastic elements, as this leads to a decrease in sensitivity. Experts advise installing the sensor on the shield that separates the passenger compartment from the engine compartment. Sensors are usually mounted on all doors, the luggage door, and the hood. The final decision regarding the placement of shock sensors should be made based on the recommendations of the alarm manufacturer, advice from installation craftsmen, and the available number of sensors. Read also, what is a counter separation and how to properly implement it. Features of customization. Many motorists are legitimately interested in how to properly adjust and customize the shock sensor provided on the car alarm system. Each car alarm system, installing on modern cars, has approximately the same principle of adjustment. The adjustment involves changing the sensitivity to a greater or lesser side. That is, we customize the mode of operation of the security system depending on the vibrations that the sensor detects. Once you have installed a shock sensor on the car to complement the alarm system, the first time you start it is required to adjust it. The only question is how to do it correctly. You can do the adjustment on your own or ask for help from experts in customization. There are different types of alarm systems for cars. Depending on the specific model, the adjustment can be carried out in two ways: manually, through a computer. The manual method is the easiest. Some sensors have a special lever or regulator on the body, turning which allows you to change the sensitivity parameters. Read the instructions to find out what impact power is indicated by this or that scale on the sensitivity regulator. Computer adjustment is more complicated. To do this, you will need to connect your laptop to the device with a special cable. Usually it comes with the alarm system. Sometimes it has to be bought separately. Through special software, which is usually branded for each alarm system, you need to select the menu with the settings of the device. Go to the sensitivity section, adjust the sound and mode of operation. When adjusting the parameters, select the settings you need, turn on the alarm system, try to strike. But such experiments are better to conduct during daylight hours and at a sufficient distance from residential houses. It is unlikely that the neighbors will like it if you start experimenting with the volume of your alarm system in the evening. Impact sensors are indeed a useful addition to a car alarm system. It is an auxiliary element of protection which reacts to direct contact of a potential intruder with the vehicle. Yes, the sensors are not perfect and can be triggered erroneously, reacting to the fall of some objects, jumping animals, or trivial pranks of children in the yard. But it is not recommended to disable the shock sensors. Depending on the situation, you should choose the appropriate level of sensitivity. Near a noisy road, and with the constant movement of cars near the parked car, it is better to reduce the sensitivity. If the place is quiet and calm, but potentially dangerous for the car, then it is better to raise the sensitivity. In conclusion, understanding the functions and purpose of shock sensors is crucial for enhancing security systems. These devices play a vital role in detecting unauthorized access or disturbances, providing an essential layer of protection for your property. Proper placement is key. Positioning the sensor in areas prone to impact or tampering maximizes its effectiveness. Additionally, fine-tuning the adjustment settings ensures that the sensor responds accurately to genuine threats while minimizing false alarms. By following these guidelines, you can significantly improve the reliability and efficiency of your security measures. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.